I don't mean any harm. I really don't. If this video offends you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you'd be so easily offended by words. So, I'm a libertarian. And a lot of people ask me when I say that, they say, oh, what's a libertarian? And I sit back and I say, well, and I think of all the different philosophies that I've heard about. Honestly, never read them. I just understand it works. Anyway, I'm kidding. Nobody ever asks what's a libertarian because everyone knows what a libertarian is. Just ask people. I see it on social media all the time. I enter into some sort of discussion. I say, but I'm a libertarian. And they say, oh, you wasted your vote. Oh, thanks. Because of you, we've got Trump. And I'm like, so what? Who cares? Trump, Clinton. No difference. No difference. Do you understand that? There is no difference between Trump and Clinton. Not a one. Okay? And nor between Bush and Bill Clinton, and of course Bush and Obama. All of them. They're all the same. It's one big family. So I didn't vote for Trump. I'm a libertarian. I voted for Gary. You know Gary. What is Aleppo? So people don't ask what a libertarian is because they have a preconceived notion of what a libertarian is. And then they begin to tell me how stupid I must be for falling for libertarianism. And they lecture me on what it means to be a libertarian and how cool it is. Or no, scratch that. How foolish I must be to be a libertarian because the Koch brothers or, Ayn Rand took Social Security. Your arguments remind me of a toddler learning how to walk. I know that all of the fundamental foundations of knowledge and argument forming are there. You're just putting your foot in the wrong spot. And you fall down. And like a toddler, you just sit on the ground. You're like, hey, I guess on the ground is where I am now, but no. The first thing that you must understand about what it means to be a libertarian. If I was here and Jim was next to me and he said, I'm a libertarian. I said, I'm a libertarian. And when we discussed things and there were certain things that we saw that should be executed differently, then I wouldn't argue with him because he says he's a libertarian, which means that he is an individual. He is not a member of a large collective of people. 3.3 million people voted for Gary Johnson. No, 3.3% of the vote total was for Gary Johnson. I do have the numbers right here. Gary Johnson received 4.5 million votes, 4.48 million votes, which was 3.3% of the vote total. Yeah. So we are a group of people, but we are all individuals. We are a group of individuals. And we recognize the entire world as being nothing but a group of individuals. There are no legally binding groups that may cast any authority upon me. Until the point arises where my actions violates someone else's continuation of their freedom and liberty. And if that is the case, then they bring their litigants, and I would bring my litigants, or whatever the word is, and we would meet in a... I use these terms, and I always get corrected by lawyer friends, so I'm not even going to start using the terms. But you'd litigate, you'd talk it out. We're all just individuals. And to be honest with you, first 10, 20 years, we'd still have police. Don't get me wrong. We'd still have police. And they'd still be publicly funded. It's just that some people would stand up and say, I should have the right not to fund the police. And yet still expect them to reply to my calls. The logic there is, if you had the choice to say where your money's going to go, then you would have the choice to shape your society. So if you would rather your local tax dollars go to not fund the police, but to make the school a better place, then you would have that right. And if everyone were to underfund the police and then overfund the schools, well, then there would be a serious situation there. It wouldn't be the full funding. Don't get me wrong. Schools, you can't pull all the money out of schools. You can't pull all the money out of the police department. Not yet. Relax. A lot of people still need to understand that we're all just peaceful people. So you can't remove all the money. Let's say you put $100 into your tax base. And let's just say, for simplification of argument, 50 of your dollars goes to the police and 50 of your dollars goes to education. They're equally funded. You would have control of 25 of those dollars, so that if you decided you could take only $25 and send that to the police, and 75 could go to education, or vice versa. You know, maybe you think the schools aren't using their money well, and the police need, more stuff. Whatever it is, it's just an idea. And that's like the biggest friggin' ramble. I was trying to explain to you what it means to be a libertarian. And how people tell me, oh, you're not a real libertarian, or you're not this. And then it got to me and Jim with the individuals. That's the whole point. So like people will say, oh, you want to do away with the Civil Rights Act. Well, yeah, not like, and I'm not 100% up to speed on the topic. So it's not to say that we'd want to do away with the entire law, but check it out. We don't want our government, we don't want what is there as the collective to even recognize race. For you to even recognize race means that you're a little bit of a racist, because you recognize that there are races. You could be a major victim of racism, institutional racism. You could have been attacked in a racist attack. You could have, been overcome for a job, or skipped over for a job because of racism. It happens. I'm absolutely positive it happens, and I wouldn't even be surprised if it happens a little bit in the other direction too. But that's not where we're going. We don't see race. Everybody is an individual. You could look at it like scientifically. Hey, yes, this person has this DNA structure versus that DNA structure. But how white do you have to be? I'm pretty white, I say I'm from Ireland with a little bit of Eastern Europe. And we argue, our family literally argues about which country in Eastern Europe we're from. And I've come up with an answer that I've carried for about probably like 25 years now, My great-grandfather, the village that my great-grandfather left, is no longer in the country it was when he left. And I haven't, I don't even know who was my great-grandfather that came over. I think so. So, yeah, we're all just individuals. But how not white? Like, when do you become black? There's a congressman, no lie. I was doing some research and just looking at the history of African Americans in the Congress and the Senate. And, to no surprise, it was a Republican who was first, but then there was like this little spattering of Republicanism in the late 1800s or whatever, early 1900s. And then, then you saw the big shift occur. And then it became heavily on the black, and there's a small peppering of black Republican senators and congressmen, whereas there's significantly more in the Democratic Party. But there's this one guy. I'm scrolling through like the Congressional Black Caucus on like a Wikipedia, and dude's white. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, he's black. I get it, he's black. But like when you look at the DNA structure, it's like one of like 8 descendants. Like his great-grandfather or whatever, or grandmother, whatever, was black, and everyone else was white. I don't know if it's quite that diluted, but and he holds on to that. And he's like, hey, look, I'm black. So where do you draw the line? You know what I mean? Like in a let's say in a horrible like in a cop situation gone bad, like a police brutality, police officer shoots an innocent person. Let's say it's like someone whose great-grandfather was black and everyone else is white, but the person identifies as black because maybe that great-grandfather or whatever it is still alive, huh? And is like there at the house all the time, like, or whatever. Looks like a white guy though, walking down the street, somehow implicated in some sort of criminal activity. Maybe it was a bad 911 call because the dude down the street had it out for him or whatever. Cop rolls up, argument ensues. Guy makes the civilian makes a mistake in how to doesn't follow the rules as to what you're supposed to do. Yeah, I know, I'm not even touching that. Boom, 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 shot dead. Now his grandpappy comes out. He's like, what the fuck? Is that a black guy shot by the cops? Cop didn't even know he was black. So anyway, it's just some random thoughts. We're going 13 minutes and a half now. So nobody's watching. There's not a single chance that anyone's watching. And this upload's going to take like an hour.